Hi, my name's Holly Barton. I'm one of the criminal lawyers at Churches, and I'm based at our Southsea office. County lines is a form of criminal exploitation, often where there's gangs that try to persuade, coerce and force children or young people to store drugs or money and transport them to various other areas in different counties. They tend to be quite highly organised gangs, and they use children in order to essentially maximise profits of whatever criminal activity that they're concerned in, and that distance themselves from the criminal act that they're actually doing, which is normally dealing drugs. They often have a phone line, which is often called a deal line, and that's used to facilitate county lines drug dealing, and that could be where gangs are contacting these vulnerable or young people in order to get them to deliver drugs or money, and that could be to any area of the counties that they're dealing within. So being in possession of drugs, in order to be in possession of drugs, there is a physical and a mental element of that. In terms of the physical element, those drugs have to literally be in your custody and in your control. The mental element of being in possession of drugs is that you know that you're in possession of something that then turns out to be drugs. The person doesn't necessarily have to know that what they have on them is an illegal drug. They just have to be aware that they have something on them. And that person can remain in possession of something even if they've completely forgotten about it. What they can't be guilty of, though, is being in possession of something that they're completely unaware of. So being in possession of drugs and being accused of dealing or supplying drugs are two very different things. In terms of seriousness, being accused of supplying drugs, of course, is far more serious. When it comes to just being in possession of drugs, if you're asked to attend court and you plead guilty or you're convicted, the sentencing options for a court can be anything from a fine up to a custodial sentence. If you're accused of dealing drugs, which is that you're found in possession of drugs and there is evidence that you're then supplying those drugs to other people, in terms of the sentencing options, almost always there is a risk of custody. So in terms of the seriousness and the penalties, that is the main difference between those two offences. If you're under the age of 18 and you're caught in possession of drugs or you're accused of supplying drugs, the best thing you can do is to seek legal advice. And certainly here at Churches we've got a specialist team that can assist people with that. In terms of a young person, there's a wide range of out-of-court disposals and also sentencing options if that's a young person. If the under 18 or the young person has been exploited under the county lines umbrella, which I've previously discussed, then again this will have to be considered, and certainly our team at Churches are equipped with advising young people on this. And really county lines, young people in this area where we work out of and in any area in the country, those factors are very, very important when a young person is accused of those types of offences.